Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are back at it again with the LEC rundowns. Let's hope we can continue with them, at least now for spring. Let's just get into the games. Let's get into the nitty gritty. I don't have the vote for Vitality versus Team Heretic, so it's mostly going to be verbal on this one, but the other ones we can cover in terms of what happened in the game. A lot of one-sided games today, very clear line of logic in terms of the draft process, a lot of Braum into Nautilus, Nautilus Prio, Smolder Prio high, 14-5 without hotfix I believe. Talia Prio quite high, Orianna bans, and then followed with, of course, Azir being disabled, very limited amount of mages, good synergy with all the CC that is in the meta, so Talia is very happy. A lot of dashes, a lot of CC, Talia has very good conditions there. Some of the hard engaged champions that usually are good against Talia are also not really involved. So all in all, with some patterns and trends that we will clearly notice. So Vitality starts off here in the first game with an Orianna ban against Zyro, who is having his debut here on Team Heretics, and of course the debut of Trimby in the roster. Orianna ban, followed by Jace ban. Jace against Photon, something that is blindable. It's also something that Viteo has played in the past. There's a lot of opportunity, electrocute, Jace action going. If you want a recommendation for a great channel for content of someone that really does good educational videos on trends that he's spotting, Lol Dobby. If you don't know about it, check it out. Lol Dobby on YouTube. Nevertheless, Jace ban against Photon. Ashe is something, I guess, in a world where you want to create a higher Renata Prio, deny Ashe Varos, and also considering the line of logic of someone like Trimby, I can imagine a world why they would want to ban Ashe, right? Nevertheless, they follow with Senna ban. Senna on 14-5 didn't get nerfed at all, really OP still, should be perma-banned. Vi sets up the Smolder, and then after Smolder, you can then pick Kalista, Varus, you can choose. Here, depending on how much you respect it, the early game of the enemy team, this is where maybe you can have concerns for what will go down in the game. I think in such a spot, I think that Team Heretics probably could have improved their draft if they just picked Nautilus Karma, and then they just dropped AD if they were willing to play Kai'Sa, Kalista, Varus, but this requires a very strong champion pool, right? And I think this would have given them more options, because I think picking Karma and then dropping jungle, playing Karma without Xin Zhao, I think a lot of her strength is lost in the early, and then Karma becomes more of a scaling champ with a fine lane matchup. And I think that you can optimize yourself for Karma in this spot by then dropping AD. So they go Varus, Nautilus, the go-to blind for every support player, and also something that has lockdown right. Talia gets locked in, and then Braum as well. Braum, the go-to answer, really likes Braum. Karma on 3, and then as mentioned, Xin Zhao is out, and then they pick Sejuani on 4. Here with the Sejuani on 4, obviously signals they want to play some kind of AD bruiser on top. They tried Wukong. For me, Wukong didn't make a lot of sense. Maybe there's something that I'm missing. Wukong did get buffed in terms of how his passive works. Max stack on a earlier point, and the stacks run out way slower. But Wukong, against TF, your flanks get spotted. You get spotted in Invis, which is a big part of your durability, and then just the lack of Divine Sundered. Sundered Sky doesn't pack the same punch. In this game, Wukong went for Sundered Sky into Profane Hydra. In regards to the generality of this game, I think that, Douglas really was having a hard time in the early game. I think a crucial thing here for Vitality was that Smolder and Braum kept even in the game. So they were on par to hit, the stacks at a relevant point. This game was largely uninteresting. I think Zyro was fine, and he was participating in the early game, but then later on he made quite some crucial mistakes in terms of how he positioned, and he got caught. And you're playing against this blue side composition, you're not really allowed to make a lot of mistakes. This TF blind here with no top lane bans in particular besides Jace was a little bit dangerous in my mind here. I thought they were just going to play the Aatrox, but maybe that invites, maybe Jax if they don't want to play against it. Because I think if the enemy goes like Sejuani TF or something like this, I think you don't really care. I think this is a better Aatrox spot than TF because the Merc's value is very, very high. Nevertheless, MVP for this game in my mind is Smolder. Brom, I think Hilliard sometimes looked a little bit iffy. There were some situations where there was inaccuracies and inefficiencies, because Hilliard, of course, is something a player that we need to pay attention to. I think that also Veteo had a very, very solid game. I think in general, Team Heretics looks very discombobulated. There was some moments where I was questioning the Wukong pick. Zyro, macro-wise, I think there was some misses there, and I think, yeah, the Team Heretics bot lane here, I felt like Flacket was not really noticeable here on the Varus, and maybe this is something that they need to change up, right? It's like here, they have options for AD. I think they should have gone Karma, Zenza, Nautilus, played Draven, Kaiser, Varus, Kalista. They would have had a lot of good options. I think that's something that they should have explored in this game. Game number 2, Fnatic versus Rogue. This was just a early game dominance. Finn, made some mistakes on Udyr. I was watching this together with Outdominate. Let's talk about the draft first, I guess. Draft of Fnatic, they banned Draven, Smolder's follow-up ban, Volibear, Renata out, Senna, Orianna. Here there's no AD prio because they can always choose. With Renata already out, Kalista value goes down, same thing for Varus. Thalia gets first picked, enemy goes Nautilus, Kalista, they pick Rel Flex together with Zeri. Rel can always be played into Nautilus. Zeri, okay, another champ in the bank for Noah, which is cool, a hot topic. Noah has, been on the defensive in regards to his champion pool. They pick Hui on 3, one of the majors, Orianna out, Azir out, solid. We don't really have any additional commentary to add here. I was surprised that the enemy gets Vi here on 4. I think Vi is very good for enemy bot because, like enemy team, because Vi is very good into Zeri. I think additionally, when you have Nautilus, Kalista, Hui, Vi can get to the point where she gets 6 very easily. Very tough to invade, very tough to pressure. Here they go Sejuani, K'Sante. I thought that this was a spot where maybe they're going to look for Aatrox instead, but K'Sante is just an Oscarinian classic. I think here, draft-wise, I liked more what Rogue was presenting, but the execution really wasn't there. I don't think Finn, especially in the role that he's playing, can be impactful enough to really highlight and really hammer home this problem that Rogue has had. It's their fight selection, it's their willingness to actually like trade blows and to challenge mechanically. It's just really not there. They are like laning, and then afterwards they just kind of lose their soul, and that has been true for a very long time now for Rogue. And the addition of Finn, sure. I think that in terms of early game, what Dom pointed out is that he could have, like here, he should not use his awakened on humanoid. He should have done it for the plant on the jump over. He could have fought back here. Could have potted up and had a good time, but instead we have this where he just goes and pieces out. It was very late because Thalia was hovering. Something that Razor pointed out in his post-game interview was that, he really didn't like the fact that you do the draft and then you have 20 minutes to prepare, because they could talk about everything, how they want to play the lane, how they want to set up. Very easy for them to talk about what Udyr can do level 1 and position Thalia in a way where she's going to trade with Udyr. And then, of course, where K'Sante is actually ready there to leash the Sejuani, because it's an uncommon thing to do, but it's a common thing to do against Udyr. But now you have a lot more time to actually process that and think about that, because a lot of things need to be said ahead of the game. And now you have 20 minutes to prepare. It really limits the amount of cheesiness you can pull off, right? If you want to leverage the fact that you have an advantage in information, it's a lot harder now to deploy because the enemy has 15 to 20 minutes to actually solve the level 1 and solve how they want to fight, and maybe in a lot of cases also solve the matchup. Think about like a case where Midwin busts out the Fiddlesticks. His advantage there is that he has played then a matchup that the enemy hasn't played. So maybe a matchup that is 50-50 if two players played perfect, to have 20 minutes then to reflect on the matchup, to play 1v1, to talk about it, to talk about runes, to really set yourself up for success. That's an advantage that a player that has the counter is wishing that they will bring to the table when the champion select is occurring. In my mind, champion select is the opening of a game, and to put a break in between there kind of like a timeout in a sport. It's kind of strange. It doesn't really fit League of Legends, and it doesn't translate to international play. So I really don't like that part either. I really don't like that part. And nevertheless, we continue. Some crucial moments. Finn, he pushed in, he based, bought boots. I think that you know, Larson somehow he lost his flash to Sejuani. Going to just pay attention to that point in time. This was the moment where Larson gets ganked, he gets W'd as well, pretty dry. Larson uses flash, which is going to be important for later. Sejuani is going to reach 6. Zeri and Rel laning away, no big deal. And with this advantage through bottom side, Kalista, Nautilus, very strong laners, secure Drake, pretty straightforward. We fast forward and go forward. So here we have the situation with the Hui, no flash. Eventually they will latch onto him. Larson is on the wave, feels safe because Nautilus, like here, Talia. I like this move from Talia here because Talia is not showing on the neutral wave. Look what Humanoid is doing here. He's not showing on the neutral wave to really encourage Larson to push because the Humanoid has fake based. And now with the move speed of the wall, he's timing the walk on Larson together with his team to get the kill. Larson felt very safe because of the information that Talia was hiding there. That's a nice play, I like that. This was also a very big swing here for Noah. He finds the all-in here on comp. You know, this is one of Zeri's big strengths, which is something that, you know, has been discussed plenty in the community. It's like, why are people playing Zeri again? Zeri did get buffed, and also, you know, how strong her potential is in the 1v1 definitely matters as well, right? Definitely matters. So this was already, the game is in a condition where it's very hard to imagine that Rogue is going to come back. Take a look at this fight that happened, which is the nail in the coffin. Just this dive onto bot, the way Zoelis starts it, is appalling. He Qs into the turret, takes aggro, doesn't get the Q on Noah. He could have just walked, waited on the minions. Because here the setup is fine. Here, like, Wei is moving, Talia has wall, and it's going to be like a 4v3 situation. And maybe we will have, you know, an advantage here. But instead, Comp dies, they get chased. And now Razo is coming through the base. Zoelis dies too, had no flash, and plain and simple, the game was just over. Larson gets away. And the game is just GG. We continue to game number 3, which was BDS versus G2. I think G2 at this point, you know, I get very concerned when they have the draft that scales better than the opposition. I think that G2 has proven now that they are a very tough team to beat. Draven ban, Ashe, and Draven Kalista. You know, this is the reason in my mind why Hans Sama deserves to be MVP of the split is that he's pulling Draven Kalista bans always. Having no two bans already in the 1, 2, 3, it has a crazy amount of impact. Really crazy amount of impact. But we continue. So Twisted Fate, Kalista, and then Ashe. Vi is out. Vi making Smolder stronger, Talia weaker, and then Orianna on 3. Orianna, Nuclear and Classic. Talia gets first picked, but no Vi here, and then Smolder Ahri is the answer. Here Ice shows a different side to himself with the Nautilus lock-in and the Zeri lock-in. Here we see the second Braum where Nautilus gets invited, where Braum gets picked, because they could have chosen to have gone Smolder Nautilus if that's what they wanted to, which is something that is a common occurrence, very high prio like in the LPL, in the LCK when it comes to Nautilus. But nevertheless, Zeri, Nautilus gets locked in. Nautilus is a very strong blind. Why is Nautilus picked as often as it is because the answers into Nautilus, like Braum, Renata, Heimerdinger even, they often find themselves in games where they are not impactful enough. The matchups are also not one-sided enough for the matchup itself to be rewarded in isolation. So you need to find the champion that is good against Nautilus and also good for the game, because Braum doesn't like hard counter Nautilus, right? Because Nautilus can hook Braum too, and you can find damage to actually hit Braum. So Nautilus, like imagine if they don't pick Nautilus, enemy can pick Nautilus on 3, they can ban for it, set it up. or they can ban Nautilus for 5 and your blind just becomes weaker and weaker. Sure, maybe against Smolder showing you can get away with playing like Zeri Lulu, Zeri Milio, something like this, and the enemy can't really pressure you, but I just wanted to explain the logic behind the Nautilus. So Braum is picked on 3, Renekton is banned, Renekton, one of Adam's go-to blinds. Jace and Jax follow-up bans, 2 champs that are good against Adam's pool. I'm happy to see Adam play Aatrox. I think that he has shown in the past that he's a decent Aatrox. Poppy gets locked in because Lee Sin is showing together with Ahri. Very surprised by the Lee Sin here. I thought they were going to just lock in Xin Zhao, but he did have kind of a pop-off game, but Lee Sin comes with a lot of risk where you invite like a Poppy Angu, or if he fights against Itak Joggle, he can have some struggles, but Lee Sin is Lee Sin, all good. And then the Volibear on 5 into Aatrox. I think Aatrox, considering it's the blind pick Aatrox, I'm happy that you get to play against the Volibear. I don't think it's like the roughest matchup for Aatrox. But the question is, you know, can Volibear use his early game strength to set up dives against Aatrox? Can you dive him on 6? Can you break his ankles? Because Aatrox is a scaling champ nowadays, definitely a very, very scaling champ. He's going to go Ninja Tabi, look to go Profane Hider, even though he went on the Sky this game. Looking at the game, there's just a G2 masterclass in it. We just go through it real quick. The level 1 was kind of strange. Very, very surprising here. Mickey, I'm not sure why he would ever stand like this. There is very little benefit to standing like this. I don't understand. Really, really don't understand. You gain just as much information by sitting in that bush. I don't know if there's like a room to walk like this and then around. I don't know if that's the thing. But even in that case, it wouldn't matter because your Ahri is not spotting on mid wave, right? So the enemy can go through mid. I think what Mickey did here was kind of odd. So they give a kill to Zeri. She's very happy, of course. A lot of crucial fighting. I like that BDS, you know, took the fight to them. Like if I think about BDS and their identity, which is why I was surprised by the Zeri, is that they want to create freedom for their support to roam into mid and fight these 3v3s. Here Adam shows up, he's here, ready to mingle with his level 5 Aatrox, which is, Adam is probably the only player in the world that would ever look to do something like this, right? He turns the fight around in favor of his team, which, you know, Braum uses both sums, and the enemy team uses a lot of ults, and they also, of course, lose HP and resources, which, you know, by Adam showing up on midwave makes them secure Dragon, which is neat. Also, I was surprised with the condition, like Adam manages to base without TPing, and then he goes back top on the cannon wave to catch. Like this is not knowing exactly what went down in lane due to the camera work. Like these are good conditions for Adam to be in. It's like he gets to catch the cannon wave, and at the same time he has found a way to base without using TP. So that's, you know, impressive. Good move here from as well, you know, extension. I mentioned Caps lost HP before. Talia crossing into bottom side, Poppy is behind them. Lee Sin was spotted doing Krugs. This is one of the problems and weaknesses with of course Smolder, and also with any bot lane that is weaker, is that if the enemy has pushed mid, at any point in time they can stack a wave on you and you're gonna get killed. Here, Lee Sin gave information. Caps didn't get the base yet because of the fight before, where he had to burn all of his resources. G2 needed to base earlier on Lee Sin. Big topic of discussion, if you want to take this to your future team or take this to a discussion. Void grubs and objectives in general are secondary to making sure that your lane states and wave states are good. If the enemy is slow pushing a wave into your bot lane and they can dive you and crack your head, then doing void grubs for that is completely inefficient. Same time here, right? Aatrox is pushing all the way top, so Lee Sin has no pressure on Aatrox. Aatrox pushed because BB based, and also your bot is getting dove. this is a terrible time to actually do void grubs. Lee Sin needs to cross into bot and actually be ready to defend this, right? Another thing that we could maybe look at, but I think it would take a too long time, is if there was a way for Caps actually to sack himself to them base, right? Do a little show, make a move, sack himself base, and then Talia bases 2, and then he would actually secure bot. But he stuck around and wanted to catch wave, so it meant that Talia had the first initiative move. Hansama using his flash here quite poorly is also, you know, a pretty big deal. Here, Adam, good state of mind here, right? He's checking for Yike, pushing him off, and then Adam goes back into the turret again. He's very wary here because he knows without his flash, right? Like he flashed in this moment on the Lee Sin gank top. I don't believe they show it. Like here he uses flash. He needs to be very careful here. So I like how Adam plays here. He walks with the wave, and he steps out of the E of Oliver. I think that G2 can play it better here. I think definitely you can one shot. You can buffer your R off of your Q, and of course you should always have guaranteed E hitting, and then off of that your Lee should also hit Q, and they should one shot out Aatrox. So G2 didn't have the cleanest early game, especially with that Braum hook in and death, but G2 began to slowly ramp up. Here Nucleant felt a little bit too safe because yeah, I don't know, he had Poppy behind him and Nautilus is coming, but Lee Sin is probably one of the only champions in the game that can lane gank like this. That's why Lee Sin really likes to play with LB and Ari, the champions that have dashes for him, just to set up that 2v2, because the range that Lee Sin covers with W and Q is very, very far, so he can gank always from every different angle, but this is not really a moment that Nook should die. Like, this shouldn't be a thing. Like, he's looking to poke with one ranged minion, which is just unnecessary greed in my opinion, because Ari also has refillable. We continue. We fast forward a little bit. Let's look at some of the crucial moments here. Nook flashes, and the Q still lands from Yike, which is pretty gorgeous, And now the Yike show kind of begins. He's gonna pick up a lot of kills, which isn't, you know, ideal. Like it's great to have kills, but usually you don't want them on Lee in such a game, because the way he curves out is not quite the same as he did during the Gold Drinker days, because Gold Drinker was such an oppressive item, so much omnivamp that it had. Nice kick here from Yike, showing off some Lee Sin mechanics. Good to see that, you know. I like it when players invest time into champions and really show it. I think that's cool. I think that's cool. Light swap from G2 in my opinion here. They just cross into bottom side, they have grab advantage, and Smolder is transferred into mid, which is where he wants to be. He just wants to be as safe as possible and not be forced to, you know, receive help. And 3v3 bottom side, crossing into mid makes a lot of sense. Boltberg can't be touched, can't be moved. Let's fast forward. Here, no, I mean, Caps does a little bit of a mechanical mistake. I think here in this spot, like, it's hard to even argue it as a mechanical mistake. It's more about how he uses his Q, because I think here you usually want to R into Q, but he's R'ing because of Talia W, right? Of course, I think he could have found maybe potentially like a faster lethal if he combined his spells better. But looking at it in hindsight, this is just like what I thought live. But like seeing now that he's just ulting because of the spell, I think it's just about making sure that he holds Q. We continue. There's also the new Volibear tech, mentioned Lord Dobby, but basically you go Ingenious Hunter, you want to end in Despair, go Revitalize, and you go for this shielding Volibear build that does plenty of DPS because of Unending Despair, but is insanely tanky. He didn't buy tier in the early game, which is a 400 gold investment, which is fine to me, but yeah, this item is not really active, of course, before Manamune, because I think in terms of effects, like this effect is quite wild, you know, like you You get a big shield on your slows and your CCs, which is yeah, massive. G2 being G2, right? G2 being G2. Just want to look at the sequence here in terms of how they cut through, because Caps crosses through mid to make sure that G2 can enter into river and take all vision. The moment they are safe on the mid wave, he then just crosses into top side. Talia is too afraid to steal this wave, which I think makes sense, you know, it makes sense. It's in an awkward spot, it isn't in a neutral spot, but Talia not pushing this wave, and after they crossed mid wave, like see how late Zeri and Nautilus is here. It allows then for Braum and Lee to cross into top side because they have river control, and Ari can push deep on the wave because she has ult, and it's just how their champion works. And then off of this mid wave, Zeri shows they can go even deeper. Ari has now stacked the wave and they're attacking the Talia. Like for example here in this spot, what BDS are looking to do is they are looking to clear this wave, and then they want to group on this mid wave that is here. But Caps finds a really nice angle. So just pay attention to the sequence there. Caps crosses through mid when his team doesn't have mid info. When he has mid info, they collapse onto top side. Here in this case, they saw that the enemy base because they didn't contest the neutrals. So with that information, they walked on the vision that they placed before on the first move of Caps, and then crossed through into top side. Here, what BDS want to do, they want to plain and simple catch that wave top and then move 4 into mid to then retake river, and then during that time R will push for free, and maybe there's an engagement in river, but you need to contest that space, right? Unless you want to play a defensive game, I just think that playing a defensive game against Smolder is definitely like a losing game. And this was a very nice moment. You have a nuclear in that finds one of the biggest W's I've ever seen on a Talia. Boom. Crackalicious. Delicious. And that is all. I think this next Q was poorly placed from Nuke. The adrenaline from the triple knockup, I guess. And they get Nash. Luckily, G2 could afford this mistake. You know, they overforced. They obviously should have just turned for Nash after the initial kills. Luckily, they have Smolder on their side, and the Smolder is going to become fully online here in this moment. Don't like too much of this position here BDS is taking. They're just kind of sieging this turret on bot, which invites fights that I think are way easy for Redside to choose. The reason I don't like this type of sieges is because if you play 5 of the same wave and you're not getting chip damage and the enemy has range to actually harass your cannon minions, the enemy between the waves actually have time to base and come back into the tier 2. That's why I don't like these sieges. I don't like that mid is neutral. I don't like the top is pushed all the way. I think there's ways to be a little bit more dynamic, but I understand why they are going bot, because it's the final outer tower, right? But we continue. Just here, like Adam pushes forward to try to hit the turret. They're kind of like faking that they can dive, but Redside is just calling their bluff here, right? What I would want to see is for them to just crash this wave, make the enemy defend, cross into top side, take the bot side camps, cross into mid, push mid deep, use the vision to allow yourself to cross between the turrets freely, stack 2 waves on bot into crash, and then maybe you can do something with 2 cannons, you know, in that direction. This was just too deep, Adam too deep, and the rest of BDS also a little bit too deep. Hatsama reaches stacks, and Smolder is now smoldering. I hate Smolder, by the way. I haven't made it clear. I hate Smolder. I hate Smolder because it's very boring to watch. I don't really hate things that are very strong or OP or weak or whatever. It's just that he's such a lack of... It's like Yumi turned into an AD carry, really. That's just what it is. The skill expression is so limited, you know, very limited. And I don't mind that Riot makes champions that are easy to play, but maybe they shouldn't be competitive. Year of the Dragon and all. Okay. I have the chunk on Shio in this circumstance. G2 just turn around on Nash. Notice that the Ike is a little bit energy drunk. Like ability haze drunk. He's kind of overusing his spells, so he runs out of energy. Need to be careful with that one, Lee Sin, you know? Especially if you're not, like, if you're auto-attacking, then it's fine. But if you're just throwing spells and W's, you can run out of energy, and small thing to nitpick. Okay. Yak needed to chill out at any moment. Ice here gets E flashed on. He had moments to react, he had E. He just E'd into it, kind of. Caps. Very nice game of Ari from him. Really nice game, and G2 just looks unbeatable, you know? They really look unbeatable. MVP to me, Caps. I think that G2 as a whole, just good performance. Good performance. Okay. We move on to KC versus GX. KC versus GX, people concerned that the enemy gets Smolder. But Draven out, Sen out, Ashe, Kalista, Varus. So here I thought that they're gonna pick Smolder, first pick. But Vi also in some cases makes sense too. Basically, Vi is very good against Smolder, very good against Zeri. Those are the two ADs that are in. Keep in mind, with these AD carry bans, right, then the prio on jungle shifts and the idea of the game also shifts. So, Vi gets first picked because the enemy is going to either play Smolder or Zeri. That's plain and simple the idea. Here I think that you have option to pick Hui or Talia, depends on the dealer's choice, right? I think in this case, plain and simple, Hui also has follow-up on Vi ult, right? It's not like Hui is going to be lacking there. And then Kama, you know, Kama pairing with Xin Zhao, dropping support. GX looking to 5-pick support. Very standard stuff. Here, the 4-5 bans are quite surprising. I don't know, Udyr, Rumble. I think those, like Rumble ban is very weird to me. I don't know what they are afraid of. Like, I guess it's just because like Gragas got to choose. Gragas was just like, okay, what do you want, ban Gragas so you can pick on 4 so we can 5-pick support. This champ, okay, all right. I think at this point, like locking Nautilus would have been perfectly fine, and I think that a Braum on enemy team really wouldn't have mattered at all. I think it would be fine either way, and I think it would have been pretty standard and then 5-pick top. Here, Aatrox, TF. Not sure what KC, like at first, I guess they intended to just blind pick K'Sante. That's what Aatrox TF ban really tells me, especially like something like against someone like Odoamne. They pick Gragas, so they pivoted to Gnar, and that's it. I think that Nautilus, Hui, and Vi are champions that do well into Smolder because Hui has good range, and of course Vi and Nautilus have lockdown to really isolate a champion like Smolder that is rather squishy. So KC really had a very clear idea on how they wanted to deal with Smolder, and I think that's perfectly fine. I think that Smolder is a champion that is weak against hard engage. I think that what GX could have done to improve, I think Tam Kenshi on 5 would have been pretty solid, right? If they believe in this whole Smolder idea, I think the lane matchup maybe is not super easy, so they pivoted away from it, but I think the same is true for Rel. In this game, KC, I like what they did. They got a really good trade on bot, and then Vi just altered her pathing. I think Xin Zhao pathing into top is really bad for the game. I don't think Vi can necessarily invade the Xin Zhao on bottom side, but Xin Zhao starting blue and then crossing into top, and then, you know, just doing this, and then Bo like is taking the loop around, putting a ward. Either he wants to look to deal with the Xin Zhao so his bot lane can pressure, or he just wants to dive bot. So he skipped camp because here KC are stacking and crashing the 4th wave. The 4th wave being the wave they get level 3 and enemy bot lane is level 2, and then they go for it. Very easy dive with this ward that Bo placed. He knows the Xin Zhao cross into top side, and they get their skulls rocked. Let's just see how they play this dive. Targamas can easily just walk on whatever target he wants. The first basic attack is not something they can flash, and after that basic attack they can go. Here Ignar, if he wanted to do more, not that it probably wouldn't have mattered, he just needed to, he just needed to actually like walk on the Vi, Q the Vi. Kind of funny how the overlay is already fucked, like it already shows that Patrick is dead, Ignar being also very low HP already. But they get the double Q from the Vi, they one-shot Patrick, Patrick has TP and he kept his flash, Karagamos can just walk away, doesn't need to Q that, he's already dead, the Nautilus, the Rel, so he doesn't need to give one for 2, but doesn't matter too much. 2 kills on Zeri, that's something to celebrate, Vi also in a decent spot. We continue. Vi now taking a respawn of the Grumpy, and the Jackies with good movement gets to keep his flash. But this also means that Saken gets a pretty straightforward clean base here on Lost Chapter and a TP back with a pink and a potion. Thirsty boys, KC boys, I'm so happy that they won the first game. It was crucial that they won the first game, Winning the first game was so crucial because, you don't want to like lose against GX and they play G2 and Fnatic. Like the energy going into those matches would have been so different, and winning against Giants is of course a must. It's a must. It's like Giants, Rogue, these are free wins. They need to be free wins for KC. That of course was problematic for us right at the end. We managed to beat SK, we managed to beat BDS, and those are teams that KC really easily can be competitive with. But dropping games against Rogue, dropping the game against G2 as well, that was a really good spot, and dropping those games is really painful, We continue. The Vi first pick. We got memed on all for the Vi's first pick, but I stand by it when the 80s that are gonna be played are very weak into Vi, then I think that Vi is very strong. My nose is so itchy because of dry skin. That's why I'm doing this thing. Don't worry guys, I've never done cocaine in my life. I'm just sitting here co-streaming all the time. We move on. Peach defending in the bottom situation, bottom dive, secure Drake from before. Very important what KC did right is that they managed to secure the Drake very early on, which means that the snowball of Drakes is really on like pressuring Smolder. This Smolder was already so fucked because of the dive, Zeri being so fed. There is no realistic fight that Giants can ever take. There's really no fight they can ever take. Here, after Peach ults, the play is done. Like he ulted, he reset the fight, you need to wait for your cooldowns. So you need to wait for Saken spells, you need to wait for Tagama spells, boss spells. Always, if you are playing competitive league, you need to highlight the spells that your team needs to rally around. And the people controlling those spells need to be vocal about the CD. Very simple. Hook and 2, hook and 3, Q and 3. Very simple. You don't need to fucking spam. No need. Just there are certain spells you need in order to break the enemy composition, and those champions are why, like those spells are why you chose to pick those champions. You should play around those tools, plain and simple. And this is something that is easy to forget sometimes, Because when you are aware of that a lot more, you can always take the small wins and recover. And here, since ult is being used, there's no reason now to Vi ult, because there's no spells to follow up here for Targamas. Targamas can't hook, they can't play, and Saken is not in position to follow up. So it's a very bad ult here from both. They can just take it easy. Upset very strong on the static Shiv, push the enemy back, but here GX managed to get like a gift here. This is something that KC need to clean up, of course. We continue, they managed to get Chemtech Drake. Very good Drake spawn here for KC. I think the two most OP souls in the game by far is Hextech and Cloud. Cloud might be surprising, but 20% move speed is just way too much. And that's without activating your ult that grants you 50% move speed, which is ridiculous. Hextech Soul, the slow, stacking with other slows is very OP. Kawashad with the cheeky boomerang placement there, I like it. We continue. Casey just have prio mid, and at this point in the game, you should just play in a way to isolate the enemy solo laner, pressure dive with Vi and Hui, so you can pressure the tier 1 on top. In this regard too, just because of how much stronger you are, you want to take any fight that you can. But it's very important in that process that you take the fight in the jungle if the enemy shows on the wave. Here, Patrick and Ignar are making a very crucial mistake. They can never win on the mid wave, so they should never show on waves that they can't win by contesting. Here in this particular spot, Rel and Smolder should walk and defend. They should never ever show on neutrals. Unless you're actively ready to contest and you're going to win the contestation against the enemy, you should never show. Especially if the enemy can pressure you off of it through Fog of War. Because if Zeri just walks on them and they know that Nautilus is in river, Nautilus is way larger than the Rel that is showing. Okay? Very, very crucial detail. So here, if you want to defend your jungle, which should be entirely possible because you have your tier 1 top, the Hui is going to be cut off, and the Rel and Smolder need to be in position to actually defend. But the difference is here, right? You want to play for tier 1 top. If you get the tier 1 top and Hui can push deep, and then the enemy top laner, the enemy side laner is catching that wave, then you can cut through here and then pressure the tier 1, because the wave is going to crash on top at the tier 2 at the same time as you are going to go into mid wave. Right? So you can leverage a number advantage. So take a look at here. Now Smolder and Rel, just because they are showing here on mid wave, allows Bo to play a little bit more aggressively, even though this is dangerous. Okay? Bo is looking to play this camp. He doesn't get the assistance from his teammates, but his teammates are playing a little bit more principled while Bo is playing Punish League of Legends. Bo is playing Punish League of Legends, Casey is playing Principled League of Legends. You know the rest of the homies. This is a moment that can be very dangerous. If Rel and Smolder are paying attention and not contesting that neutral wave and just masturbating on mid wave, they can look to punish. And then in reality, where Bo should be is that he should just be in try and look to pressure the cam on the turret, okay? Because they need to take tier 1 first. But Bo steals it away, cheeky, pieces out, takes the plant, goes for Herald, plays for objective. Zeri on the mid wave, and they carry on. Here I think Bo as well, I think he just held on to his Q spell too long. I think you should just Q Xin Zhao here, hold the ult. Once again, very crucial that you hold your spells together with your teammates, because here your teammates are already hitting the front line, Ignar is getting hit. You should just hold Vi ult. Sometimes the bullet unfired is a stronger bullet, plain and simple. Here he's firing his bullet, Targama's also firing his bullet. This is a moment where they can't connect as easy. Sometimes just holding Vi ult, holding Nautilus ult allows Smolder to not do anything, you know? It's like, imagine you work at a grocery store and someone's trying to rob the cash register. The homie is pretending to have a gun in his pocket, but you're not going to flip it, right? You're not going to flip it. You're not going to risk it. The point being here, it's like the gun that is unfired will already pressure Patrick to not participate in the fight, and they can easily hit Peach, easily hit Odoamne, and save their tools. Big difference here, right? That is the crucial difference. Because Bo here, you know, they get away with this because of how much stronger their champions are, but the fact that the enemy team gets some kills here, of course, is not a good thing, right? Casey can definitely clean this up. The reason I'm looking at this so thoroughly is because I want the boys to have higher aspirations, you know? It's a good win, you know, but there's things to improve, you know, always. Jackie's crucial mistake here, just, I don't know what the fuck this TP is. Just TPing like this, man. This is a complete Sahara TP, you know, he's in the desert. Very strange, very silly. Big win here for Casey. At this point, you know, they get the soul points so early in the game. They're so far ahead in gold. There is not really much that GX can offer. Even in this fight, right, Patrick has 179 stacks at 22 minutes. You know, that's usually the reason Smolder is so boring to watch is, oh, the team with Smolder is weaker until 4th Drake. Are they going to, at 4th Drake, have the stacks? Or are they going to steal a cheeky Drake because the enemy messed up somewhere? That's such a boring game pattern. Very boring game pattern. That's why I hate the champ. So here, GX need to fight this, of course. Hextech Soul is a big one. Item advantage on mid is pretty big. Item advantage on jungle is pretty fucking big. This opener is terrible. I think here in this moment, I think you need to ask yourself if the bot lane situation is important at all. I think Hui could look to TP in. Let's just look at this mid wave. I think here, probably I would prefer if Hui just opens through mid. If Karma hits bottom turret, I think they just lose the game. So I think here you ignore the bot wave, you go 4-man mid. Nar wants to be here, Vi wants to be here, just go 4-man mid, take this path, clear this vision, and contest this mid wave. Like, this is the mid wave to contest. I think that just this bot wave here from Saken is just a mistake. It's just too greedy. If Saken plays it like that though, then these guys need to be a lot more chill, because GX now see Hui on bot and they know that this is the time for us to fight. You know, this is the time for us to go because we outnumber. And I think that's why if Karma hits bot, the enemy just loses. They can't be on that mid wave, they get pushed out, Karma gets pushed out as well. She gets a tier 1, but they are gonna lose the whole game on the spot, right? Because of the Drake spawn. Now Hui is super late, he TP's late, and Peach is just engaging in because there is showing and Hui showed. So this is something that you cannot do, right, from Casey's side. In a different world here, if Smolder has passive, I think they can easily lose this fight, by the way. Easily lose this fight. This can be remarkably close. Look how low Upset drops, Targamos drops, and this is, you know, Boa is also super, super low, and GX didn't use much of their tools. They're still Mummy and so forth, and, you know, Zinza ult was used, but this was super, super dangerous. They win in the end because there's a wallet gap, and they managed to push them off. Patrick's explodes, good. Saken ult there, very nice job, and they managed to seal the deal. Their composition stronger at this point, no Smolder stacks, just a complete wallet gap into Soul. Liked how they cut through here. They're still playing the game. 3 people are dead, so they keep playing the game and play for jungle camps. I like this a lot. Ignar wanted to put down wards because he thought this was the opportunity to do so, because Animo was on the bottom side, but they cut through, get a kill, snack on him, and do Nash too. Very nice. I like this move also from Cabo. This is something that a lot of LPL top laners do. After Nash, take the neutral wave on top, open on bot side. The wave will go deep and you're going to force your enemy to match you on 2-3, because if the enemy races you, you're going to open on the wave 1 wave faster because you killed it, and it's just a very standard and good move. I like it. Here, Cabo is just hitting for free, and all Casey needs to do is make sure to spot the rotation. Putting a ward here, if Targamas has one, is super, super good. They're keeping the wave nashed up, and GX right now is showing 5 man under this turret. So here in this moment, based off of this position, like GX showing 5 under this turret, now Casey should be in the mind that enemy tier 2 top is dead. The enemy over defended. So here, plain and simple, you want to hover into this area, you can leave one guy on TP, hover into this space, be careful about enemy hard engage, and let of course Nar push. You buff the wave, keep a distance, don't give the enemy the fight. But the enemy doesn't have great engage, so you can easily tether to the mini wave. And then when Nar is pushed, you connect with him, and then you let Nar push all the way top, you make them defend and take the long route into top side. This is good that what Bo is doing. He's spotting, 5 man here, he's spotting, and Casey cannot get engaged on, they can take it easy. No Gragas flash, there's no problem, Saken just tethering, and now Casey can collapse on the top side, right? 5 man should defend, always move, always be moving, right? You want to, the idea of having Nash and the idea of pressuring in general is, you want to take control over the space that you can access to faster through prio, and then leverage that to, you know, make the enemy take longer routes to the objectives that you pressure. When they've arrived at that destination, you continue the pressure by moving through Fog of War to the next destination and force the enemy always to take the longer routes. Like example here, the enemy defends all the way here. You cross now, you'll be faster because you're in Fog, and you pressure this, they defend, and then you cross here, you're faster into here. They take long route here, then you cross into top side, you make them take long route there. In between, you also take all the jungle camps, and you basically force the enemy to always move. We continue. We have the Elder fight, where Bo goes sicko mode. He goes a little bit too deep for my taste. Continue. KC super strong. They have Hex Tech. Like, look at how strong the Zeri is. Doesn't matter the Smolder has stacks. You know, the 10k gold lead. So very one-sided. Targamas just hooks in. Targamas drops very low here. Very dangerous. But Zeri is super strong. I think here Upset shouldn't E. I think also Upset shouldn't hit the wave on mid. I think this wave mid doesn't fucking matter. I think that he should just tether here and take it easy. I think that this mid wave just is whatever. I think that he should just be in position for his team to face check into them and just take any fucking fight. I think here as well, Upset shouldn't fucking E into R. Like, he E's into R. He's just waiting for Zenza ult. I think he should just keep E and then look to R into hit and then play. Peach with the flash over the wall, delivers Bo to space, but Bo with Triumph and Sterak keeps him alive. Ignar missing the Q to break the Sterak shield, and then there was Sundered Sky doing a lot of work here, and that's it. That's all she wrote. Good win for KC. Good to be on the board. Happy to see the boys smile. Good for them, man. Good for them. Very important win, man. Need to start the fucking split with a fucking win. They carry on the win streak, 3-0. Let's take a look at the last game. Last game, MDK vs SK. Honestly, MDK, legit as fuck. Talia, here Vi is open, Smolder is banned. Senna was completely ignored, which was surprising. Honestly, very surprising. They just pick Varus and Zeri. SK, not a big Senna team, but of course MDK, big Senna team against Nautilus. And then I guess because you're only picking your AD, Varus has a lot more super pairings that make sense, but they ignore the Senna, pick Varus. I don't think the Senna nerf matters at all. Here SK have Karma out, Volibear out, so they make Zinzao slightly weaker because of Karma, but Zinzao is very strong early game jungle. It is what it is. Talia, Vi, Varus. And an additional reason why I like the Varus is because if you have Vi jungle, like, you need a strong, very strong bot lane, so Vi can actually 3v3 on bot. Because if you pick a weaker bot, like let's say you go Senna, enemy has Varus, Nautilus, and you have Vi, you will never be able to 3v3 bot. And that's something that you always need to think about when it comes to how the early game is going to progress. Because now, with no Heralds being in the game until 14 minutes, it really extends lane phase. So I really like that they prioritize Varus here actually over the Senna, because they're picking the weaker early game jungle in Vi. So Zeri gets locked in, Exaki Classic, high hopes, and so forth. Here as well, MDK have Alistar, Renata, Braum as answers into Nautilus, 3 champs that they do like to play. MDK ban Graga, small fight to set up the Twisted Fate, blind pick them. Jace gets locked in, Jace answer into Twisted Fate. I think that makes sense, yeah, makes sense to me. I think Jace should be able to fight back. You can go Electrocute, you can stand on the wave, and you should be able to trade, but very volatile, right? DF has a Ghost, you can Ghost on your Jace and just gank him with the Vi ult, whatever. Very fragile champion. We say this over and over again on this channel. Very fragile champion, can die from like a fly landing on his head, you know? Very dangerous to play. So you need to be very, very clinical, and sometimes Jace needs to die. Like, if the enemy wants to kill you, sometimes you need to die, because sometimes not taking the risk to push waves is going to cost you the whole game. And sometimes you need to force the enemy to actually use tools to get you off of that wave, so it actually leads to a positive impact. Because if the enemy pressures you off a wave that maybe they are not pressuring, and then they pressure your bot, and you didn't farm and your bot gets pressured, that can be a much worse outcome than you actually contesting that wave, because in a lot of cases you get away with it. Junglers can't be everywhere at the same time. But anyhow, I think that blue side is a very beautiful draft. I think MDK, very beautiful draft. Really, really nice. This is gorgeous. Really, really gorgeous. I think this is probably my favorite draft out of the whole day. Really, really nice. Really, really high CC, good matchup, good continuity in the game, strong early that can be leveraged for something, and really good synergy. MDK in this game, honestly, they were, I think Alvaro ran the game, honestly. Alvaro ran the game with the amount of timers he had to roam top. There was a map split where Vi showed to dive bot, which was pretty bad for the game in my opinion, but we're not going to show that because Isma base late. But here, just Brom finding the timer to go top and you know, Irrelevant not securing his lane. You know, this is crucial. You always have to always secure your lane. After the changes, top laners that have prio should always be able to secure your lane. He has the ward on cooldown already. He should be able to place it. Imagine here if Alvaro gets spotted and he doesn't get value. You know, that's painful for him. That's very painful. This is also quite the Elioya classic where he, you know, walks to gank before doing the camps. This is Elioya classic, I like to call it. And with this pink and Jace not, you know, being in a, like not securing himself from before, makes him into an easy target. Here, Mirwin has ghosts, so there's no point for Relevant to flash. He would just die anyway. So he just accepts it, keeps the flash. Very good. Very important to save Mirwin from the situation, right? And punish the Jace that TP'd back. I like that. Good move from Alvaro. They trade the Drake for the grubs, but Twisted Fate's condition in the game is very important. I think it's cool here how MDK, they cross and they look to contest because of the bot situation. Can be dangerous in some cases, but I think a key detail here is that I think that the fact that SK don't pull out the Drake and also that Niski doesn't hover in fog until it's finished is what makes this Drake a lot less clean. So they spot, I believe, actually Isma dodges the crab. Wow, they actually just rush to the Drake blind. That's very interesting. They finish Void Grubs and then they just... Is it because DOS shows on the crab? Is that what it is? No, the crab is gone. Crazy. MDK is crazy, by the way. They didn't have any information of this. Because SK can just pull this out and SK can, like Niski can hover. Like Niski showing on the midwave here is so troll. So troll. Because if he doesn't, this Drake is for free for red side. All Zeri and Ari need to do is hover, and then Xin and Nautilus need to pull this out. And then it's a game changer. Then Vi is crossing into bottom side without taking the top side camps, and her 6 is going to be so delayed. I think Mad Lions are psychos for looking for this. Absolute psychos. Look at them go. So this is how the fight starts. Elioya just gets his Q cancelled. Exa kick. Looks to burst. Elioya dodges some damage with the flash. Talia crosses through. And here comes Supa. Varo's super strong in these type of situations. Brom too. Really like how Elioya played it to flash into the pit and then look to channel Q, wait for spells again and then go again. Brom is an absolute monster in fights like these, right? There's the ghost popped. And I think if Frescawi could have probably flashed the charm, would have been better. Just very nice how MDK played this, and I think just Alvaro tagging everyone and being so healthy and Nautilus not having a base yet is a really, really big deal. Exa kick, no flash too. And then you see here how, you know, the rocks just do so much fucking damage from Frescawi. Very well played by MDK, but the fact that they look for that fight in the first place, they are crazy. But crazy is fun. Crazy is very, very fun. Game now in shambles, in danger, of course. They managed to kill. Like here, Alvaro just went on a superhero round. Let me show you guys. So Alvaro, like first, Frescawi shows up in top. They kill Irrelevant again. Alvaro is in top side. He gets spotted on a pink. He gets spotted on a pink, and now he crosses into bottom side, and Alvaro's kept up in CS this entire time. The moment where Zeri died on the Drake fight was very rough for her economy. Very bad for her economy. Super burns sums, he's slow pushing out, and Brom is coming. Of course, here Super was fake pressure. He's standing on the wave because Brom is not showing. Like, if Super is hugging his balls and is under the turret, it signals too hard that Brom is top. So you always need to play with the information that the enemy has. So Super is pushing on the wave and Alvaro gets spotted, and that's the moment where Nautilus and Zeri just snap and go, right? And they burn both of the sums. Brom comes in just in the nick of time. Look at this timing here from superhero Alvaro. He jumps, gets the block on, does no flash. I think Exakick probably could have fought back a little bit harder here. I wonder if he should just Ard and started hitting here, because letting his Nautilus die like that looks kind of weird here, you know, especially after Braum queued. I think you ult and start hitting here if you're Zeri. I don't know why you sell your homie so hard, because give my Alvaro's level 4, you know? Well, level 4 you have Ignite, I think you can fight back. Exakick had a very goofy game, not gonna lie. Alright, so here some hints from Mad Lions. They are all on the same page at least, but giving 1 kill here to Niski. It's very bad on the dive. They dive in tier 2, they already have T1 on bot. Eski getting Rift Herald, I don't like that too much. I think Mad Lions should have matched objective-wise. Jace also recovers economy-wise. A little solo bolo for Niski, 303. Good Zika Soundguard buy. We don't like Zika Soundguard so often on this channel, but this is a good game for it, for sure. We continue. Mid turret fall because of Rift Herald is also a very big deal, right? When you have champions like Nautilus, Ahri, Xin, Half Force champs, you know, Varus and Talia, they like to have the comfort of a turret behind them, right? Okay, we continue. This is something that I really like about Mad Lions. There's 2 things macro-wise that I like. Their early game, and also how when they are ahead on tempo and notice that the enemy base, they always cut through, put deep vision, they don't waste time, cut through and punish any stray cats. Like in this case, Isma. Isma doesn't press R, presses R too late. I don't think it would have mattered too much, but maybe with the health, he could have flashed over a wall, something like this. And we continue. Very simple, clear-cut move here. Just follow through here, the decision making, okay? So, MDK is fresh off a base. SK pushes this neutral one, and they take the mid turret. The enemy need to base. Nautilus showed with no wards, and Braum is fresh. Supa takes the neutral wave, and MDK just enter into the enemy jungle. Isma can't take his camps in this moment, and offer that wave, offer the information, knowing the Zeri needs to base and so forth. They just snap, go, kill. You know? If Isma doesn't die here, I think Irrelevant dies here. So it's not only on Isma. This is just like a tempo swing that MDK leveraged really well. And it's not the only time in the game. It's even in theory like what Alvaro's doing when he's going top with the Braum, right? Is that he's leveraging the fact that the enemy expects him to be bot, so they can't pressure Varus because they're expecting Braum, and then when he shows on top, Varus can play accordingly and they get value because every time Alvaro is in base, he can pressure, right? Which is a really big deal. We continue. Here, I think the incredible thing, just the fact that Niski survives somehow, because he walks on this ward, and MDK, like this is one of the best wards you can place for sure on the current map when you're blue side. Niski gets CC'd, queued into Art, and then of course the WCC. Very crazy here that Niski actually survives somehow. I think just the Q timing was bad, and Niski gets out. I think Alvaro also doesn't need to play so fast here. Alvaro can take it easy. Alvaro's pushing forward, like this is him pushing forward, like why is he doing this? Could just back, perceive if the enemy hits him, take it easy, he ults, I don't know what Alvaro's engaging on, you know, this is kind of troll. And then Niski, you know, they kill Mirwin, they kill Alvaro, Niski surviving there, he TPs to the situation, he has it in case the enemy contests. SK get quite the comeback, because Zeri and all of this got some shutdowns. Now Zeri, you know, with maybe 3 items, they can look to cook. This is not the end of the day, right? Niski dies, but there's no wave on bot. But Jace gets tier 2 top, which means he has Cyrilda for the big fight that's coming on Drake. We continue. Now this should be the Zeri show, right? Zeri is fucking strong, she has 3 core. You know, this is where Zeri begins to show up with her 3 items, but instead we have this. That's disturbing. That is complete. That is the inspiration behind Rihanna's Disturbia. That is the inspiration behind the band Disturbed. That is the picture that you see when you open a dictionary and you look up the word disturbed. When there's a D&D sign, do not disturb. It's just a picture of this, but crossed out. This was very bad. very bad. Like you managed to create a situation where you're competitive because of the mistakes of Mad Lions, right? And you have good conditions to play, and you manage to throw it like that. You know, you lost the game so many times in this game. We continue. Let's look at the final moment of the game. The soul, the mountain. Alvaro has Alistar ult on with a Z. The equal and is so low, man. Look how tanky he is with the mountains, man. Crazy talk. They continue, they commit. The Skyway. The Skyway need to stopwatch a little bit earlier. Like they are a little bit freaky in the way they play. But of course, Exakick dies. Exakick just keeps dying in the driest way possible. it's a bad look, you know. And my main critique to SK when I made the tier list, right? When I made my tier list, I think SK fell off because Isma fell off. His level 1, 2, 3 shenanigans didn't work so well. And then their bot lane didn't play the meta. And then you see like Zeri coming in. Oh, maybe Exakick will find himself. But this was a terrible look. A terrible look. All right, that's it for today. Let's take a look at LoL Esports. Some predictions real quick. Let me cook that up for you. Side plan. Okay, so we're going to be co-streaming. This will probably be posted during. We're going to be co-streaming this. We're going to be co-streaming that. We're going to be co-streaming this too. It's going to be a full LPL day. I think that these games in Korea are not so interesting unless Genji and T1 are playing, in my opinion. And then in terms of my predictions, I think Team BDS, I think they're going to win. I think Team Yamato is actually going to beat Rogue. KC versus Fnatic. I think KC showed promise today, but I think Fnatic is just a better, well-oiled engine. And I think some of the mistakes that KC did today are going to be more punished. But definitely, I think KC has capacity to beat Fnatic. I just think Fnatic is favored. SK should beat Giants, and then Mad Lions versus Koi. I think G2 is going to take that away. So with that being said, thank you very much, guys, for watching. Please stay healthy. Yeah.